G-Day, and welcome back to the deep dive. Ever been in that situation, maybe at work, maybe just sorting something out at home, where there's this massive rush to fix something? A problem pops up, a challenge, and the first thought is just jump straight to the solution. Often something techy and new.
Yeah, happens all the time. It's almost instinct, isn't it?
Totally. That urge to just get on with it, solve, solve, solve. But what if the real value, the actual transformation, isn't in the solving bit? What if it's in nailing the right problem first?
Ah, now you're talking. That's the crux of it.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into that very thing. The critical art, really, and the discipline of framing the right problem. Way before solutions, especially the tech ones, even enter the picture.
Mm-hmm. Foundational stuff.
And our insights today, they're drawn from some really fascinating, in-depth research published over on georgeabbeymatthew.com. This was work done in partnership with the team at Sydney-based AIQUA Solutions. Really sharp folks.
Yeah, really good collaboration there.
So our mission for this deep dive, let's try and unpack why companies, why we often get this first step wrong. What are the pitfalls of just rushing in? And, more importantly, what's a proven way, an empathetic way, to figure out what actually needs fixing, getting to the root cause?
Yeah, not just papering over crack.
All right, let's get stuck in. Let's unpack this.
Look, it's a pattern we've seen, honestly, consistently for, well, probably 2 decades now, across all sorts of industries. You name it: finance, healthcare, renewables, even defense. There's this huge pressure, this sort of gravitational pull to just deliver outcomes. Now,
Initial start.
right? And what happens is many teams they bypass that absolutely critical phase of defining the problem properly.
Right. What are we actually solving here? Bit gets missed.
Exactly. Our research, especially working with AIQUA, it really highlights this. Too many teams jump straight to talking to vendors or, briefing their internal tech teams, sometimes before anyone's actually put pen to paper on what the real issue is.
Yeah. The solution almost becomes the starting point.
Precise.
That's fascinating. And look, I've definitely seen that play out. You see it all the time, don't you?
Yeah.
An RFP, a request for proposal, goes out. Suddenly, boom, your inbox is full of these shiny, impressive solutions. PowerPoints galore.
Yeah, everyone's got the answer.
Everyone's got the answer. But you're still left scratching your head thinking, hang on, what exactly are we trying to solve here? It feels a bit like, I don't know, commissioning a massive bridge before you've even checked if there's a river underneath. Or maybe it's just a puddle.
Huh. Good analogy.
And this pattern, as the research shows, this is where it gets really interesting and potentially expensive.
Oh, absolutely. The research really drills down into this pattern. We sort of call it outsourcing the thinking. So a challenge pops up. Or maybe it's an old problem, one that's just been hanging around for ages, always on the backlog.
The perennial issue.
That's the one. So what happens? Typically, a vendor gets brought in early, often someone with a product they already have. And their focus, naturally enough, becomes trying to make their existing thing fit the problem. Or, retrofit it to solve this kind of fuzzy issue.
Right. They shape the problem to fit their solution almost.
You could say that. Then the implementation kicks off. Project managers tick their boxes, reports get filed, and eventually some benefits get realized. But here's the kicker the research found consistently. They're realized to some extent.
Ah, the classic qualifier. To some extent.
Exactly. And the outcome, the research puts it pretty bluntly. No one gets fired, but no one gets transformed either.
Ouch. So effort goes in, money gets spent, but nothing fundamentally changes.
Pretty much. It's a stalemate. Lots of activity, but not much real progress on the core issue.
And those long-term consequences, they're not trivial, are they? It's not just a harmless stalemate. Over time, you see this slow leakage of value. Those big investments start to feel a bit off, like money down the drain.
Yeah, the ROI just isn't there.
And the really critical part, the bit that always gets me, is the impact on the end users. The actual people living with the problem day in, day out. What do? They don't just sit around waiting for the slightly off-tech solution. They find their own ways around it.
The workarounds. Always the workarounds.
Exactly. They build their own spreadsheets. They create these little shadow processes, cobble together manual fixes. It's quite ingenious, really.
Resourceful, definitely.
But it's crucial to stress, right? This isn't usually because the tech itself is bad.
No, not necessarily.
It's because we, the organization, the project team, we solved the wrong problem. Or maybe just a tiny piece of it. We didn't get to the real pain.
That's a really powerful point and often missed. You hear that phrase all the time in boardrooms and strategy meetings. fall in love with the problem, not the solution.
Oh yeah, sounds great on a slide, doesn't it? Got a nice ring to it. But what our research shows, crystal clear, is that actually doing it, putting it into practice with real rigor, it's incredibly rare. It's like saying you love cooking, but never actually, chop an onion.
Ha! Yeah, the intention's there, but the action, not so much. It stays a bit of platitude. Okay, so let's pivot. If that's the trap, what's the better way, the approach that actually works? The research from georgeebbymatthew.com and AIQUA Solutions really lays this out, and it stresses this happens before the techies get involved. It's foundational.
Absolutely critical.
Right, so step one, it sounds almost too simple, but it's brilliant. Walk the floor, ride the truck, live the day. And the emphasis is before you even think about a whiteboard or a wireframe. It means getting properly deep with your frontline teams. These people, mate, they are your gold mine, your best intelligence source. They're living the problem, feeling the friction points constantly.
And what's fascinating here, what the research really brings out, is this isn't just, discovery theater.
Right, not just ticking a box saying, talk to users. Exactly. It's not about putting on a show for an afternoon, having a quick coffee chat. It's got to be more like, well, anthropology.
Right.
Really seeing the problem as it's lived in all its messy real-world glory, not just how it looks in a report or a spreadsheet passed up the chain.
Yeah. Getting beyond the sanitized version.
Totally. Think about the understanding you gain when you properly immerse yourself. Sit with call center agents. Don't just listen to call stats. Hear the actual frustration from the customer. Feel the system constraints they're battling.
Right.
Or, ride shotgun with the delivery driver. See the traffic jams, the dodgy routing, the package handling issues firsthand. Or shadow a nurse in ED. Witness the chaos, the pressure, the information gaps, the workflow interruptions. You get this visceral understanding. It often uncovers problems you didn't even know were problems.
And the key to unlocking that, the research says, is how you ask the questions, right? It's about empathy, not judgment. You're not there doing an audit. You're asking things like, look, honestly, what slows you down? What breaks your flow during the day? What's that one thing, if someone could just fix it, would make your life so much easier?
Yeah, open-ended. Non-threatening.
Exactly. It's an invitation for them to share their reality, their frustrations, their brilliant insights, not a test. That empathetic approach is what finds the hidden gems.
Okay, so once you've gathered all those rich stories, those symptoms, those frontline observations, what's next? Step 2 is crucial. Sift through the noise. Identify the high-value problems. This is where the analysis gets serious.
Right, panning for gold time.
Exactly. You've got all this raw material. Now you need to find the nuggets. You start asking, okay, which of these issues are frequent, happening all the time? Which ones are genuinely costly? Not just dollars, but wasted effort, lost productivity, the emotional drain on people.
Yeah, the human cost.
Definitely. And the big question, which problems, if we actually sorted them out, would unlock the most value? For the users, for the business. Where's the biggest bang for buck?
And the research also mentions looking out for those seemingly small things that have big ripple effects, yeah.
Spot on. Those little things that look minor but cause chaos downstream. Maybe a tiny data entry mistake that takes hours to fix later.
Or a clunky system step that just kills productivity bit by bit every single day.
Yeah, or maybe a customer interaction point that seems trivial but actually creates compliance headaches or slowly erodes trust. These are the hidden value destroyers.
And doing this step well, mate, it takes guts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And real clarity.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the research highlights you often have to push back against pet projects.
Yep. The thing the boss really wants, even if the evidence isn't there.
Or challenge those assumptions made way up high that just don't match the reality on the ground.
Exactly. But the AIQUA Solutions research is emphatic. This rigor, this sifting process, it's absolutely essential. You cannot skip this if you want real transformation.
No shortcuts.
No shortcuts. Which leads nicely into step 3, prioritize ruthlessly. And the mantra here, backed by everything we've seen, is simple. Focus beats consensus.
Right. You can't boil the ocean.
Exactly. Let's be honest, no organization has infinite resources. Time, money, people, they're all limited. Trying to fix every single little thing, every minor complaint, it's a recipe for diluted effort and zero real impact.
Spreading yourself too thin.
Totally. So you have to be almost surgical. Ask. Okay, out of all these potential problems, which one or two, if we really nail them, will give us the biggest return, the most disproportionate impact?
And critically, are we tackling a root cause or just plain whack-a-mole with symptoms?
That's the key distinction, like the research example. Making call center agents work faster might look like a fix.
Yeah, improve efficiency metrics.
Right, but if the real problem is a completely tangled product return process causing all the calls in the first place, you're just applying a Band-Aid.
You haven't solved the underlying issue.
Exactly. And connecting this to the bigger picture, the strategy,
Yeah.
this is where good leadership really shines. Knowing where to point that limited organizational energy for the maximum effect. Not just trying to keep everyone happy.
Focus. Laser focus.
Laser focus. And that focus, that ruthless prioritization, sets you up for the final step before building anything. Define the problem, then bring in the builders.
Right. Now we can start thinking about solutions.
Now you can, but only after all that deep, empathetic, analytical homework is done. The research is absolutely clear. Solutioning starts only when the problem is truly understood, clearly defined, and properly prioritized.
No jumping the gun. Resist the urge.
Resist the urge. So at this stage, you're crafting a problem statement. It needs to be super clear, concise, and really hit home, capturing the pain you uncovered. Not vague, not generic, specific. Then you draft some high-level requirements. But these aren't just a random wish list of features someone thinks would be cool.
No nice-to-haves list pulled out of thin air?
Exactly. They flow directly from the actual pain points and opportunities you found during that frontline research, based on evidence, not assumptions.
Grounded in reality.
Totally grounded. And then, and only then, do you bring in your solution partners, your vendors, your internal tech wizards. But you're bringing them into a well-framed context. It's not a guessing game anymore.
You're not just throwing a vague problem over the fence.
No, you're saying, look, here's the challenge. We understand it deeply. Here's the evidence. Here's why it matters. Now, how can your expertise help us solve this specific thing most effectively?
That changes the whole conversation, doesn't it?
Completely.
Because that collaborative framing, built on real understanding, lets the builders, the smart people who design and code, align what they do best directly to the real need.
Precisely.
They're not just ticking off a feature list that might be totally off target. They can actually innovate, tailor their skills to the core problem.
Which makes their job more satisfying, and crucially, makes the outcome way better for the people you're trying to help in the first place.
Better solution, better impact.
Win-win. So, look, bringing it all together, what this research from GeorgeEBMatthew.com and AIQUA Solutions really drives home is this. Framing the right problem. It's not a soft skill. It's not optional. It's a hard-edged strategic advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes empathy, sure, but also analytical discipline. And yeah, sometimes the courage to say, hang on, let's slow down here before we rush off in the wrong direction.
That slow down to speed up idea.
Exactly. It's a fundamental discipline for any kind of meaningful change.
And George Matthews' insights from the research really nail this, don't they?
Yeah.
The projects that delivered the biggest long-term wins, the truly transformational ones, they weren't always the ones with the fanciest tech or the massive budgets.
Almost never, in fact.
They were the ones that started with absolute clarity. And importantly, with real respect for the people actually dealing with the problem.
Couldn't agree more.
So what is the takeaway here for you listening in and for your organization?
Well, I reckon it means we need a bit of a mindset shift, maybe a big one. We need to stop just rewarding the fastest answer, especially if it's to a question nobody really thought through properly.
Right. Value the question as much as the answer.
Precisely. We need to build cultures where problem finding, digging deep, understanding the why is just as prized, just as celebrated as problem solving.
The why before the how.
That's it. Understanding the terrain before you start paving the road. It's challenging, no doubt, but that's where genuine, lasting innovation comes from.
Absolutely. So if you're involved in a transformation, a project, anything really, and it feels a bit stuck, or maybe the solutions aren't quite hitting the mark, maybe ask yourself that killer question from the research. Did we really frame the problem with enough empathy, enough evidence, enough precision before the techies got hold of it?
A tough question, but a necessary one.
Definitely. So there you have it. The real power, the lasting impact, comes from taking the time, doing the work, to diligently and empathetically define the right problem first.
It's fundamental.
It really is. Not just a nice idea, but essential for making real progress.
And look, this isn't just for huge corporate digital transformations, is it?
Good point.
This whole framework, this way of thinking, it applies everywhere. Any project, big or small, professional stuff, launching something new, even tackling a personal challenge.
Yeah. How so?
Well, it's always about understanding the core issue, isn't it? Before you jump to a solution that might just be scratching the surface, just treating a symptom.
Makes sense. Understand first, then act.
Spot on.
Fantastic stuff. Okay, so for you, our listener, here's a final thought to mull over this week. A bit provocative, maybe. What hidden real problems, the ones lurking beneath the surface, are you or is your organization overlooking right now, simply because everyone's too busy building really elegant solutions to the assumed ones?
Ooh, good one.
Something to think about, eh? Right then, we'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.